Hi YouTube, Video here with a different kind of video than usual. I just want to expose some of Halo 5's issues regarding the ranking system. Issues which people might not even realize are in the game right now. I don't want just to expose them. I also want to bring forth some potential solutions for them. Because it's important to bring up some solutions if we're gonna just put some problems out there and expose them. I feel like it's important for someone to do what I'm gonna do right now because it's a problem that affects a really small amount of the population. But it just so happens that a good percentage of that small amount are content makers for the game, whether it's through live streams or through YouTube. And I'm not doing this out of disdain for C43 or their work on the game, but it is just important someone does that and expose all the issues to get things fixed as soon as possible. And I do hope I can get your attention with this. This said, please bear with me and do your best to pay close attention. I'll do my best to be as clear as possible as well. What you're watching right now in the background is a recording of me live streaming Halo 5 free-for-all as part of my recent Cruise Control to Champion series I've been working on. One thing you'll notice after a certain amount of time is that I'm not getting matches at all. The search just keeps timing out and kicks me to play the selection screen, just repeatedly. Something like this has just kind of become expected out of high-level champions. Not that it's a good thing, but the catch here is that I'm still a mere Onyx, and I'm unable to find matches. Why is that? That's because Halo 5 uses an invisible value called MMR, which is short for Matchmaking Rating, to match up players with others. It's based on wins and losses, not unlike true skill in Halo 3, while taking into account both your teammates and your opponent's MMR. On the other hand, we have CSR, which is Competitive Skill Rating. It's a visual representation of skill versus others, and it's the rank where we see when we're looking at people. The rank that goes from bronze, silver, gold, platinum, etc. Both MMR and CSR are different. It's important not to confuse them. But that doesn't mean there isn't a correlation between them. For example, someone with a good MMR will most of the time also have a good CSR. But it's possible for someone with a good CSR to have a bad MMR from just playing a lot of games and winning a bit more often than losing. So this brings us back to what I'm experiencing right now in the video in the background. In case you don't know, the account I'm searching on is a null, also called a smurf. And the purpose of it wasn't to stomp on lower level people, but rather it was for the purpose of checking if it was possible to obtain champion and FFA without using the pistol at all. I explained the whole thing behind it in other videos, so I won't go over it for now. But the part to focus on is that I've been dominating in free-for-all on this account. I have one single game below 4th place out of the 40 or so I've been in. So what this did is that it skyrocketed my MMR far past what my CSR puts me in terms of skill right now. It appears MMR progresses faster than CSR does. You might notice it once I do end up getting a match in a video. The opponents I get are all champions. This leads me to think that a plausible solution for this would be to make MMR not progress as fast as it does right now, but rather make it move a little closer to CSR in terms of progression so matches are representative of your actual skill level. So this is good and all, and might be a solution for lower ranks to keep finding games before reaching the highest tiers, but that doesn't solve the problem for those who really are at the top of the ranks. Talking about the champion top 20 in various modes, those people have an insanely hard time finding matches as it is. I think most people will agree on the fact that it's not fair to punish someone good at the game by isolating them and not letting them get matches. This is a very negative impact on the game's viewership, as popular Halo streams revolve around top players a lot. Most pros who grind a lot of matchmaking can't find games in their playlist of choice due to winning so much. If someone who has never watched Halo tunes into the most popular streams, let's assume a pro like Ninja or Snipedown, and see that they're just unable to find matches, what's going to happen? They'll assume that the game is dead. Even me, who doesn't have a big stream, gets the question a lot. Someone who thinks the game is dead sure as hell isn't going to spend money on it. So, how about letting the top players find matches? Here's a solution I think most people will agree on. First off, I'd suggest listening to search restrictions across the board. The skill range matchmaking looks at is far too strict. It doesn't seem to be as bad for lower levels, but once you hit champion, it's not uncommon to become unable to match lower onyxes at all. And I think this is a bit of a mistake. If I had to compare Halo 5 with Halo 3, I'd claim that Onyx level is about the equivalent to 45 to 50 in terms of Halo 3 skill level. Champion would be someone who just grinds their 50s and it like does pretty good on average, let's say. Diamond could be around 40 or so. So obviously, like, this varies a lot. This isn't a perfect comparison for obvious reasons, but let's just go with estimates. So if we did Halo 5 matchmaking by Halo 3 standards, then people as far as Diamond could match with champions. While I don't think this would always lead to balanced matches, I do think matching champions should be in the realm of possibilities, or at least Diamond 5 or 6, because, for a champion, the search times become way too long sometimes, and if there's a player pool available, then you should be able to match them. Like, sure, if you can't match other champions all the time, then just go to whatever's just below them. It doesn't have to be really, really, really low, but I mean, just getting people games when it's really hard to find someone would be nice. It doesn't have to, well, I don't think it would be more than 5% of the time, 5 to 10% of the time, but it would prevent not getting matches ever, which is really the goal here. An alternate solution would be for this game to have a fallback parameter where the game fills up a search lobby that's about to time out with just about anyone it can find. Before I made this video, I talked with Josh Menke, a person who worked in a ranking system not just for Halo 5, but also World of Warcraft, StarCraft 2, Black Ops 2 and 3, and he told me that at some point, the game is supposed to have a feature like this instead of timing searches out and yanking people at the playlist selection screen. He also told me that obviously he stopped working in the game before the beta even came out, so they've made some changes to it. It's bound to happen no matter what, but I think that is a sort of feature that's missing for the game right now. It's a bit of a solution similar to the one I broke down before this, except it would cover even more bases and really prevent people from not being able to get games for whatever reason. Or we could just make it so the searches never time out, because in the background you don't see it, but as you search, it starts looking for a wider and wider range of people, and it just keeps going forever pretty much. But the thing is, the search times out before it can expand to a really, really wide range of players. I think this could be a decent solution as well, but we have to be aware that some people might end up with search times around 10 minutes sometimes, and maybe even longer. So that's something we might not necessarily want. There's probably easier ways of doing this without resorting to extremely long search times. Just something to be wary about. But yeah, the point of all of this is really just for people to be able to get games whenever it's ideal for them to search. Whether it's very late at night, during lunch break, or in the afternoon, or whatever else isn't necessarily during peak hours, people should never not be able to find games. That was a double negative. What I'm saying is people should always be able to find games no matter what. Unless there's literally like 5 people left in the game, you should be able to find games as long as there's enough people in the playlist population to provide a match. Doesn't matter if they're all mismatched, just put them in the lobby together if they've been searching for long enough. Don't let people not find games, ever. There's no reason for this to be acceptable in matchmaking. That's really one thing that was nice about Halo 3 when you look back at it. Regardless of the population of the playlist, unless it was really on the verge of death, it was always possible to find matches. This in turn means that people can create content for it whenever they're in a mood for it, which is great for the game. It's how Call of Duty reached where it's at now. People just kept creating content because they can play it whatever they want. If someone can't sleep at night, they can just get on and somehow get a sick game and just upload it to YouTube. It's content. Because right now, even I, who loves creating YouTube content and doing Twitch live streams, had to slow down because the game isn't working as it should. And quite frankly, it's one of the most frustrating things in the world for a dedicated gamer. Just spending money in a game you love and not being able to play it, I don't think that should really be a thing ever. If the game works, doesn't have bugs or anything, you should just let people play it, really. I can hear people who think, oh yeah, just make a new account. It's free now. You can just keep making new accounts as long as you have an account with gold. But this isn't a solution. Sure, it's free as long as you have one account that's gold, but I can't be making a new account every 40 games just to make another new one each time. It's just ridiculous. Because, I like completing the rec collection, commendations. I like having champion in all the players in my main account. I like competitive matches. I like dominating in my main account and making a name for myself, Those are things that most people can appreciate in a competitive shooter. So why should good players be stripped of that? You might think, well, it's not fair for lower ranks to match higher ranks. And you know what? I don't disagree with you. It's not fair either for people not to get games at all after spending money in a game, and for matchmaking not to be able to deliver the automatic matches when that's the whole reason matchmaking was created in the first place. If you're looking at what's happening in the background, you can see me search for 3 hours and get one single game to process. 3 hours for one game that lasted about 10 minutes. Let that sink in for a second. The worst part is that I was streaming the whole time too. Like people just got to see all of it. Imagine how bad I felt for the viewers. You're just sitting there watching me complain about not finding a game. You can tell me something like that is okay. And I'm not even the highest rank either. I'm just Onyx, dude. Onyx. In case you're lower level who doesn't want these changes to be made because of not wanting unfair matches, quite frankly, just be at ease. You won't start matching pros all the time. The player pool at lower levels is huge. The odds of matching a high level team twice in a row are pretty much non existent. And even if a high level team did match much lower level opponents twice in a row, there is no way it would be the same team both times. But that's not even supposed to happen often at all. If it ever does, I'm one to think the impact in CSR should just be minimal. A lower person losing to high level 1 should just have nothing to lose, but a lot to gain from a win. It's a good sort of risk and reward type of thing. And at the same time, it's not punishing if it doesn't work out, you know? Sure, the odds are lower, but if you do like take it home, it's a huge win in your record, huge progress in your rank. Wouldn't that be nice? It's gonna be pretty cool. Because, you know, it's not impossible. If you really want it sometimes, you'll pull the win. You just gotta believe and stay focused. Keep your head in it. On top of that, it's a great learning experience. And it's a fantastic manner of becoming better at the game. Sometimes it's good to be on the receiving end of a beating and just going back in theater to understand what happened. Those are some of the most insightful matches. There's a lot of stuff to learn from that. A lot of strategies, setups, positioning, all sort of stuff to take away from it. So it's not all bad. Also, on a random but related note, I think no matter who it is against, I think all wins should have at least a small positive impact towards ranking up. I've had a lot of games not even give me 1 point of CSR after a win, and sometimes it's frustrating. Personally, I think it should be at least 5 CSR points per win at the minimum. Because, you know, sometimes if you win, but your rank doesn't go up, then your MMR just goes up on its own, and your rank is left behind. So you get to a point where you're winning too much and your rank isn't moving, and you become unable to find matches. Like right now, the account you're looking at in the background, I've won a lot of games, and actually lost one, and I'm not even champion yet, and I can't find games anymore. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. It's a bit different, but it's similar. I just think your CSR sometimes just gets left behind for whatever reason. I think something needs to change regarding this. But putting this aside, last but not least, I think people should be able to derank out of divisions instead of being stuck at like Diamond 1 or Onyx 1500 with 10 to 20 losses, if not more. I've seen a lot of unfortunate people being placed really high after placement matches, then just going negative for the rest of their games. Like legit, I've seen people with 8 kills, 200 deaths, like the most negative KDA you can think of, just because they got too lucky during their placement matches and that luck ended up turning against them. I think no one should have to experience that. Sure, perhaps make it so it's not possible to derank past a certain point, maybe not past gold or something, or past platinum, but I think seeing people locked at Onyx 1500 is a bit ridiculous. Then again, maybe it just shouldn't be possible to place so high right out of placement matches if the game won't let people derank. Platinum could be a decent starting point instead, who knows. Anyhow, I've talked about a lot of things here, and I think it's best to bring this video to a close before I overwhelm the brains of people with excessive amounts of information thrown at them in an awkward sounding English, quite frankly. So I'll go over a quick recap of the fixes I've suggested, and then close the video on that. So the first one is make the MMR progress a bit slower than it does right now, and put it more in line with the CSR, so your skill level dictates a bit more the level of matches you get. Instead of having a CSR that's really low, but only matching champions or onyxes, let's say. Second, listen how strict the searches are skill-wise. For example, champions should be able to match the entire spectrum of onyxes, even high diamonds. I think this would help with the search times a lot, still provide fair matches, and even looking at the game like Halo 3, sometimes the matches were far more mismatched than that. In Halo 3 there was everything from boosted 50s who did not belong there to just people who got carried to 40, and the matches were just really bad sometimes. I think Halo 5 really does a good job of placing you where you belong in the long run, so I think even matching champions with high diamonds wouldn't result in too big of mismatched games, so I think this would be a necessary change. Third, add a fallback parameter that makes a matchmaking search that's too long match up with whoever has been searching for a long while as well. If there's people not finding games for whatever reason, throw them in the lobby together, get in a game or something. Don't keep people searching for freaking hours. That's unacceptable. Fourth, remove the enable to match with screen and make the search keep going forever while lowering the restrictions over time. You know, instead of kicking people at the menu and making them cycle the same tiny group of people, why not let them match anyone after a while? If they're gonna sit there for hours, what's the point? You're just gonna get all frustrated they haven't gotten to play at all. Just make him match someone else that's a bit lower. Just don't kick him at the menu. Just let them search, you know, and lower the restrictions. It just, personally, I think that's just what makes sense. What's the point of kicking people and letting them cycle the same small group of people if they can't find anyone? There's no point. It's just a waste of time. Fifth, make it so all ranked wins push CSR, and if it's a small amount like +5, make it so it pushes it forward instead of sometimes having wins that don't result in CSR increase. That's just something that's necessary so you don't get big discrepancies between CSR and MMR. Like, sure, I get that sometimes the game expects you to get certain wins, and that's fair, but I don't think you should get nothing from winning. That's just demotivating. No one wants to play a game and not be rewarded for it, you know? Sixth, don't punish lower level CSR for losing to high ranks if the restrictions are ever lessened. Like I've explained, if we make it so lower ranks can match really high ranks, then don't push lower ranks for it. Make your CSR not drop nearly as much as it would in the regular loss. And you could also make it so you get a lot of CSR from winning. Well, that's only fair. If you're a team of diamonds and you beat champions, then your CSR should skyrocket, really. You deserve it. I think it's fair. Seventh, add deranking out of divisions, so people don't all get stuck in the same skill range, or make it so it's not possible to place above gold or diamond from placement matches. I think if you look at the way the ranks are spread among the population, you'll see a lot of people that are high onyx, high diamond, and kind of like just stuck there, because everyone kind of gets stuck in the same skill range in the long run. If you play a lot, you'll pretty much all end up in the same skill range. I think that's a bit of an oversight. The game is definitely meant to have like a bunch of people spread everywhere. It's meant to be equal, except champion really, because the spots are limited. But right now, that's really not what's happening. I think this would be a good way of changing it. Anyways, this is pretty much it. I felt compelled to make this video because, you know, like I said, I want to expose what matchmaking can be like for some people. I know most of the population isn't affected by these ridiculous issues, but if you watch pros or top tier players on Twitch or YouTube, there's a good chance it's their case. And if content makers deal with a broken game, it's never ever good publicity. So I hope someone at 343 gets to see this video at one point or another and brings up the issues to their team to fix them. I like to think there's a lot of feedback, but also a lot of valuable solutions in this. I just want to give a quick shout out to Josh Menke for answering the questions I had, because, you know, I was going into this video like right after not finding matches for a while. I was a bit heated. I was also confused, you know, like I didn't want to get some stuff wrong or just say stupid stuff really out of frustration or call anything super stupid or whatever, because, you know, it was really upsetting to just sit there for hours not finding games at all. And Josh Menke was able to answer some of my questions, so I didn't end up making too much of a fool out of myself. So shout out to him, great person. That being said, thank you all so much for watching this video, and if you'd like some things to change, I'm counting on you to share this video with people you know and getting it out there. You know, I've put quite some time into this, and I had to endure a lot of frustrating matchmaking experiences in order to decide to put this video together. So regardless, I appreciate it a lot. Thank you for watching once again. Take care. I'll catch you next time.